nomination already, that those two partners with her tonight were her adjutants, her allies already. She has won it. She was so strong tonight in skipping past the intramurals to the varsity. She's playing on the varsity team tonight. That's the way I saw it. Keith.
Don't you think, though, that to some degree, when the discussion was about Iraq and it was a campaign-on-campaign questioning there, which I think we may want to see more of, candidate-on-candidate questioning seemed to go over very well. Right. By taking that tone, to some degree, did she not take Barack Obama and John Edwards with her? Was there not? I mean, I think your point is well taken that she seemed to be already acting as she would as certainly as the nominee, if not the president, but didn't, by as you said, talking to her partners there, was she not, in fact, elevating them to the point of partners? Did she not take them with her up that slope?
Yeah, it was almost like the scene in West Wing where Jimmy Smits recruits Alan Alda to be his Secretary of State after beating him in the election. I thought it was dramatic. They didn't offer rejoinders to her, as you point out. They offered modest nuances of difference with her on the primary issue that they all began this campaign with, which was Hillary Clinton's centrism on Iraq, and, of course, Barack Obama and John Edwards' radical opposition to the policy of Bush. Now they seem very hard to tell apart. And again, I'll go back to this. Her ad hominem attack on the president was so dramatic, so powerful, referring to his pathetic effort to try to jawbone the prices down by the Middle East oil potentates, made the president look small tonight. She was running as his stronger successor, I might put it, tonight. It was powerful stuff, and I wonder if these guys were ready for it. I don't think they were, to take her on tonight, Keith. I thought it was a strong performance tonight. Something else to watch. The round table, I think, worked against the kind of debate we're used to seeing when people are standing at lecterns, confronting each other with an adversarial stance. Sitting around the table made it a bit chummy. I'm not sure that's what we want.
But as we bring in Tim Russert, host of Meet the Press and participant in tonight's debate, and of course NBC News Washington bureau chief, Tim, that format, it may have tamped down some of the sparks, but the discussion about Iraq seemed to be as nuanced and in some respects as subtle and as detailed as any we may have heard about the subject by any group in a couple of years. Do you think that was A, the case, and B, aided by the geographical setting of everybody at a table?
I think you're exactly right, Keith. You know, these candidates make tactical decisions for a reason. In some of the debates, they wanted to engage each other. The last 4 days, we saw Senator Obama and Senator Clinton engaging each other, sometimes in bitter words. Tonight, they wanted to ramp down considerably the discussion of race. They thought it was hurting each of them. But they did find, and were able to coalesce on this issue of Iraq. I thought the three Democratic candidates tonight have come to a simple conclusion, that because of the economy and the situation we're now finding ourselves in terms of a recession, and the situation in Iraq, they believe that this nomination is priceless, that the Democrat is going to win the election. That's what they're thinking right now. And I think that really did modulate their behavior in this debate. On Iraq specifically, you heard all three of those candidates say they are going to get all troops out of Iraq within a year of taking office, other than those necessary to guard the embassy. In September, I asked if they would make a pledge to withdraw all troops by the end of their first term. None of them would say it. And they tried to today say, well, what we were talking about was this small reserve force. I thought the emphasis was much different tonight, and we're going to see, I believe, in this fall campaign, a very pronounced difference on Iraq. The Republicans say stay and listen to General Petraeus, and the Democrats say get out, most troops within a year. That makes for a big difference on a big issue in a big campaign.
And that big issue changed, that shift, that tectonic shift by Barack Obama and by Edwards to accept the coalescing position with Hillary Clinton, I think concedes a major edge he's had in this campaign. In fact, from the beginning, Obama's been seen by the kids on the campus as the anti-war candidate. If he accepts basically parity with Hillary Clinton in terms of the schedule of getting our troops out, it seems to me he has yielded his strongest ace in the hole, which is I'll get you out, Hillary's still a centrist. That's my thinking. I think it's going to evolve a bit, but if this is the end of their debate, over Iraq is a big victory for Hillary, because now she can trump everybody on economic performance during the 1990s. That's the Clinton record that she can run on, which is unassailable in terms of balancing the budget, economic growth, stock market performance, the value of the dollar, everything she can now run on. What has Obama got to run on against her now? I don't see the trade here. I see a loss for Obama. Keith.
Tim, to that point, when she was asked, or when she asked her question, when we tried that experiment, which seemed to work with great dividends, was that as good, in your opinion, a political thrust as anybody has tried in this camp, certainly in the debating season, to ask a fellow sitting senator to co-sponsor legislation that would essentially make sure that this president's hands are tied in terms of tying us long-term into Iraq after his incumbency is over?
There was no other choice but to say, yes, I'll join with you. Yes, very clever, very shrewd, I think very effective. I thought Senator Edwards' question, trying to draw out Senator Obama and Senator Clinton on the
Okay, thank you very much, Tim Russert, for joining us. I'm joined right now by NBC's Andrea Mitchell and NBC News political director Chuck Todd. Andrea, we've had something of a roundtable of ourselves here in the last couple of minutes. My consensus I've thrown into the group was I think Hillary Clinton pulled a very successful, I'll say this, power play tonight, of really transporting herself further to the Denver convention and acting as if she were the nominee of the party, taking on George Bush in a very personal way.
Well, the strategy was clearly to run against Bush, and by doing that, she becomes the presumptive leader among these people. She was very forceful and I think very effective, not in a strident way, when she talked about the urgency of the mortgage crisis, because she had detailed information, she had passion about it, but it wasn't a grading thing. It was a really strong, forceful presentation. I thought that was very successful. And you can see what they think they were playing to. In terms of the local Nevada audience, they were dealing with Yucca Mountain. Now, that doesn't mean anything to people around the country, but boy, it is a big deal here. This is the email that they sent out from their campaign within seconds of the debate being over, which is that she was against Yucca Mountain and that John Edwards voted for it twice and voted to override Bill Clinton's veto of storing nuclear waste here in Nevada. A huge issue here, a big issue in these caucuses.
So she's a multitasker, Chuck, because she basically declares victory nationally, but wages the intramural fight out here in Nevada at the same time.
I mean, that's why I'm not completely buying your premise that she dominated this on some sort of bigger plane. I think she came here with one plan, and that was to win Nevada. I think the only time she drew contrast with her opponents was on Nevada. And I think that was, she had a Nevada plan, and this, any idea that she was thinking about skipping Nevada, I think is out the window.
No, I mean to say that she addressed herself to the country tonight and to Nevada as if she were the leader of the party.
Well, I think that was because of this tone change. I think the last 72 hours is what you got. All of them decided to come in there and tone it down. Now, I think they all had three different plans. I think Obama was trying to look presidential. He was trying to look like he could do the job.
Did it work?
He fumbled around a little bit, but I do think the fact that it was a civil discussion plays to his favor. He is always going to look like the bigger guy if it's a civil conversation, because that's been his deal. I think Clinton has to feel great about how she made Nevada points. Don't forget, this thing was seen on our NBC affiliate here in Nevada. And then Edwards was the, hey, guys, I'm still relevant. And by the way, Edwards, I thought he personalized. I thought he did a really good job tonight. I thought we talked about the fierce urgency of facts, right, that Clinton brought out. He was heart. He was the heart, the gut candidate tonight. And he was very good.
He got to be sitting down, the three of them.
Absolutely.
Also, they finessed the race issue, which was doing none of them any good.
That was a parlay. Let's go back. Thank you. Andrea and Chuck will be sticking with us throughout the next couple of hours. Let's go back to New York and to Keith.